That night, my husband proposed an idea so outrageous, it sent a shiver down my spine. Something I never thought I would even entertain, much less consent to. He proposed that I share an intimate connection with 3 other men, and to my astonishment, the thought captivated me in ways I never expected. The unfolding night brought twists and turns that left us all in disbelief, as events spiraled into the unexpected. It all began on a sweltering summer evening, the air thick with tension. I had just returned home from a grueling day at work, fatigue weighing heavily on my shoulders, when I stumbled upon my husband, Marcus, ensconced in the living room, a glass of whiskey cradled in his hand, his gaze distant and unreadable. His gaze pierced through me, igniting a thrill that coursed through my body like electricity. Tonight, he radiated an unusual intensity, an electric tension that hung palpably in the atmosphere. As I nestled beside him, an electric tension filled the air, his gaze fixed on me, dissecting each subtle shift of my body. "How did your day at work unfold?" he inquired, his tone unexpectedly gentle, laced with an alluring quality. I shrugged, releasing a weary sigh that seemed to echo in the silence. Another day, filled with endless hours and exhausting moments. Yet, Marcus seemed lost in his own world, oblivious to the unfolding conversation. Instead, he placed his hand softly on my thigh, his touch igniting a surge of warmth that coursed through me. I had grown used to his affection, yet tonight, it felt transformed, infused with an electric intensity that sent my heart into a wild flutter. His fingers glided deliberately up my leg, and I turned to lock eyes with him, my heart racing in anticipation. His eyes burned with an insatiable longing, a craving that stirred both exhilaration and unease. "I've been pondering," he started, inching nearer, his voice a mere breath. "Discover who we are, concerning our essential requirements." His words reverberated within me, causing an unsettling shift in my seat, as uncertainty loomed over where this conversation might lead. "What are you trying to say?" I inquired, my voice quivering with a hint of uncertainty. Marcus's smile deepened, his hand gliding upward, his breath sending shivers against my ear. "Isabella?" he whispered, his voice barely breaking the silence. "I believe we need to explore a different path, something to ignite the passion between us." I took a deep breath, feeling a tightness coil within me. "Add some excitement?" I echoed the words, my thoughts racing to keep pace. He nodded, his lips grazing my neck, igniting a thrilling shiver that coursed down my spine. Marcus's voice carried an edge of mystery, his words weaving a tale of intrigue that sent a chill through me. "I think it's time we redefine our story," he murmured, his gaze alight with an intensity one couldn't quite place. In that fleeting instant, words escaped me, my thoughts swirling in disbelief at the boldness of his proposition. I drew away, scanning his expression for even the slightest hint of doubt or remorse, yet all that met my gaze was an intense, unrestrained longing. "Do you truly wish to witness me with other men?" I echoed, my voice trembling, barely above a whisper. Marcus nodded, his gaze smoldering with desire. "Absolutely." He inhaled deeply. Marcus exhaled slowly, his voice laden with an inexplicable yearning. "I want you to embrace the unknown, to step into an experience that defies expectation. I long to witness you surrender to their embrace, to feel the electricity of their touch, to dive into an experience that is both exhilarating and untamed." Thoughts surged through my mind like a tempest. Never in my wildest dreams did I envision such a scenario, nor did I ever think Marcus would even contemplate the notion of sharing me with another. As I gazed into his eyes, I could sense the electric thrill of the forbidden, a rush of excitement that sent shivers down my spine. Curiously, a part of me found myself drawn in, captivated by the allure of the unknown. A flicker of intrigue surged through me, a yearning to delve into the mysterious realms of my own sensuality. I shifted uneasily, my body turning against me as a surge of heat enveloped me. I'm not sure, Marcus." I hesitated, my words caught in a web of uncertainty. He reached for my hand, his grip firm yet tender, sending a shiver of anticipation through me. I understand it may seem unbelievable, Isabella, he murmured, his tone calm yet charged with an undercurrent of urgency. But I assure you, the experience will be nothing short of extraordinary. You won't be able to resist it, and I'll be right there, observing you, captivated by your presence. Fear has no place here. His words enveloped me, stirring a tempest of thoughts about the unthinkable. Is it truly possible for me to take this step? Could I truly step beyond the boundaries I once thought unbreakable? The weight of the moment pressed against me, daring me to embrace the unknown. The notion lingered in the shadows, shrouded in secrecy. Yet, it sparked an intense fire within me, a deep longing for the unknown, for the untamed, for an experience that would break apart the confines of my meticulously built existence. Okay, I whispered, the words slipping from my lips like a secret, barely audible yet reverberating in the thick tension that enveloped the room. To my astonishment, I found myself yielding to the shadows of uncertainty with an unexpected grace. Marcus's eyes sparkled with an intensity that sent a thrill through the air, and as he leaned in, the world around us faded away. His lips brushed against mine, soft and warm, igniting a rush of emotions that left my heart racing. You won't regret this, Isabella, he vowed, his voice thick with a mix of longing and urgency. The days leading up to the night Marcus had orchestrated were filled with a tempest of feelings. Anticipation clashed with anxiety. Anticipation clashed fiercely with a creeping sense of dread. Each time I contemplated the impending events, a tumultuous wave of anxiety and longing surged within me, causing my stomach to flutter uncontrollably. I struggled to uphold my normal routine, yet the anticipation clung to me, a relentless whisper beneath the facade of my daily existence, taunting me with what could be. At last, the fateful night had come. Marcus had orchestrated every element with precision, leaving no room for error in his elaborate scheme. The men he had selected stood ready at the hotel, their very presence heightening the charged ambience around us. As we stepped into the room, a wave of anxiety washed over me, my palms slick with sweat. Yet, the moment I laid eyes on them, three figures exuding confidence, their smiles captivating and their gazes intense, a rush of exhilaration coursed through my veins. They stood tall, their broad shoulders commanding attention, skin gleaming like polished ebony under the dim light. Each one radiated an undeniable strength, their gazes piercing through me with an intensity that left me breathless. In that moment, I was laid bare, a mix of fragility and an unexpected surge of strength coursing through me. Marcus lingered close, his hand resting gently on the small of my back, urging me onward into the unknown. Don't be shy, Isabella, he murmured close to my ear, his voice dripping with anticipation. This is meant for you, a gift crafted with your joy in mind. I looked up at him, my heart racing, and caught the intense longing reflected in his gaze. He craved this moment, to witness me among these men, and despite the flutter of nerves coursing through me, I couldn't ignore the thrill that surged within. With each deliberate step I took, a shiver of anticipation coursed through me, heightening the tension in the air. The men observed me, their gazes heavy with longing, and as I approached, the atmosphere in the room grew charged, thickening with an almost tangible intensity. I found myself teetering on the edge of a thrilling unknown, a rush of anticipation coursing through me, and I was poised to leap into the depths of this new adventure. The first man extended his hand, a fleeting touch against my arm, igniting a surge of electricity that coursed through my veins. His touch was both commanding and tender, drawing me closer as my breath caught in my throat. His presence sent a ripple of tension through the air, a moment suspended in time where anticipation hummed between us. As our gazes locked, an electric tension surged between us, revealing the unspoken longing that simmered just beneath the surface. In an instant, his lips met mine, a gentle warmth igniting a whirlwind of feelings within me. The kiss began softly, a tender brush of lips, but soon intensified, a fervent urgency as he drew me nearer, igniting a whirlwind of emotions within me. My heart raced as I surrendered to him, his powerful arms enveloping me, holding me close. The warmth emanating from his body was intoxicating, and I could feel the tension of his muscles beneath my fingertips as I traced the lines of his chest. Behind me, Marcus's presence loomed, his gaze searing into my very being. I stole a glance back, our eyes locking, and the expression on his face ignited a thrilling spark within me. He craved this moment, to witness me entwined in the arms of another, completely consumed by the passion that surrounded us. The second man moved closer, his hand wrapping around my waist, his body pressing against mine from behind, igniting a tension that hung in the air. The warmth of his breath danced on my neck, his lips tantalizingly close as he murmured enchanting secrets into my ear. My body quaked with longing, my thoughts swirling in the whirlwind of it all. Never before had I felt such an intense wave of longing, a powerful pull from not just one, but 3 men vying for my attention. The air was thick with tension, and I found myself losing control, my body igniting with every caress, every lingering kiss that sent shivers down my spine. Marcus's voice sliced through the fog of longing that enveloped my thoughts. "You're beautiful, Isabella," he whispered, his voice heavy with unspoken feelings. "It fills me with such joy to witness you in this moment." His words ignited a powerful wave of confidence within me, drawing my focus back to the men standing before me, their presence heavy with unspoken tension. The atmosphere crackled with unspoken tension, an electric charge that neither of us dared to break. I found myself engulfed in a whirlwind of feelings, navigating through a realm where lines dissolved and reservations vanished. I was oblivious to the depths of my longing for this kind of attention, this intense, unrestrained yearning. My breath quickened as their hands roamed my body, each touch igniting a wave of sensation that coursed through me. A peculiar thrill surged within, igniting a fierce sense of empowerment as all eyes fixated on me, drawn by an undeniable collective yearning. The man in front of me pressed his hand to the small of my back, drawing me nearer until our bodies were intimately aligned, the air thick with unspoken tension. I could sense every contour of him, firm and eager, his breath a heated whisper in the air. The intensity of his touch was palpable, his hands gripping my hips with a desperate need, as if he feared losing me in that moment. As I felt the second man's hand glide up my sides, a shiver ran down my spine. His fingers delicately traced the curve of my waist, a tantalizing touch that sent my heart racing. They moved higher, cupping my breasts through the sheer fabric of my dress, igniting a whirlwind of emotions within me. His touch was assertive, electrifying, and I inhaled sharply as his thumbs glided over my nipples, igniting a wave of sensation that surged through me. The tension surged within me, a relentless knot of longing that constricted with each fleeting moment. Marcus remained, a silent observer, his unwavering presence grounding me as I found myself drawn deeper into the mesmerizing allure of the unfolding scene. His eyes were fixed on mine, and I could feel the intense desire radiating from his gaze, the thrill of the moment electrifying the air between us, a shared enjoyment that was palpable. He was more than a mere observer. He was a vital force in the charged atmosphere that was intensifying between me and these men. "You're so beautiful, Isabella," the third man murmured, his voice a tantalizing whisper as he edged nearer, the air thick with unspoken tension. His fingers glided down my arm, each touch lingering with intention, igniting a tension that hung in the air. Anticipation coursed through me as I longed to feel the warmth of your skin. His words sent a shiver down my spine, my body betraying me with an instinctive response to his every touch. I sank into him, feeling the warmth of his embrace tighten around my waist from behind. Their touch was electric, a claim that enveloped me entirely. I felt myself descending into the depths of that sensation, yielding to the powerful intensity that consumed every part of me. Every inch of my skin ignited with a thrilling sensation, a rush of exhilaration coursing through me as their hands explored my body with an intoxicating freedom. The man behind me pressed his lips against my neck, a tantalizing brush of teeth against my sensitive skin. His hands glided lower, exploring my hips before settling on my thighs, igniting a thrilling tension in the air. A sharp intake of breath escaped my lips as his fingers brushed against the hem of my dress, tantalizingly grazing the exposed skin of my legs. The heat surged within me, a throbbing ache of longing that threatened to consume everything in its path. "Isabella, do you find this appealing?" The man before me whispered against my skin, his voice a haunting, alluring touch that sent shivers down my spine. "Share with us the depths of your emotions." "I adore it," I breathed, my voice quivering under the intensity of my longing. A sensation unlike any I've ever experienced washes over me. Indeed, this was an experience unlike any I had ever encountered before. An overwhelming intensity surged within me, a rawness that I had never realized was absent from my life. Their touch sent shivers through me, igniting a fire within, awakening a part of my soul that had long been dormant, wild and unrestrained. He smiled, his hand gliding up my back, fingers weaving through my hair as he drew me closer for another kiss, the world around us fading away. This moment unfolded with a tantalizing slowness, each movement of his lips against mine imbued with a teasing gentleness that stood in stark contrast to the intense longing surging within me. His free hand cradled my face, his thumb gliding over my cheek as he intensified the kiss, and I let out a soft moan into his mouth, completely enveloped by the moment. Behind me, the second man's fingers danced tantalizingly along the skin of my thighs, drawing nearer to the place where desire pulsed within me, yet always evading the fulfillment I yearned for. My breath escaped in jagged bursts as he toyed with me, prolonging the moment, intensifying the tension until it felt nearly insurmountable. "Please," I whispered, my voice a fragile thread, trembling with an urgency that took me by surprise. The third man, who had remained shrouded in silence, suddenly leaned closer, his lips brushing against the delicate skin of my neck, igniting a rush of unexpected sensations. He nibbled and kissed, his teeth grazing my skin, igniting a thrilling cascade of sensations that danced along my spine. His hands roamed over my body, each confident caress igniting a shiver that danced across my skin. A tempest of feelings engulfed me, my body reacting to each caress, each hushed utterance that lingered in the air. Their united gaze was electrifying, and I basked in the overwhelming sensation of being craved, of being yearned for with such fervor. Marcus's presence enveloped me like a warm embrace, his gaze piercing into mine, reflecting the deep yearning that stirred within me. He reveled in this moment, his thrill igniting a fire within me. The tension within me wound itself into a relentless knot, each moment amplifying the anticipation that hung in the air. I stood at the precipice of giving in entirely, teetering on the edge of relinquishing control, ready to embrace the intoxicating, visceral ecstasy that surged within me. "Please, don't stop now," I implored, my voice trembling with urgency. The man let out a low chuckle, his breath sending shivers down my spine as he leaned in, pressing a tender kiss to my shoulder. "We will never back down, Isabella," he vowed, his voice a deep rumble that sent shivers down my spine. "The journey has only just begun." The tension of longing coiled tighter within me, the suspense escalating to an almost intolerable peak. My body quaked, ensnared in the intense longing for liberation and the tantalizing agony of anticipation. The man before me seized my lips in a final, lingering kiss, his intense gaze piercing into mine as he slowly withdrew. "You're incredible," he whispered, his voice heavy with awe. "I am on the edge of my seat, eager to discover your emotions." In a heartbeat, his deft fingers released the straps of my dress, the fabric cascading to the ground like a forgotten aspiration, leaving a charged silence in its wake. I stood bare, defenseless, yet oddly invigorated. Their intense gazes, brimming with unrestrained longing, enveloped me in a sense of beauty, desirability, and vitality. Marcus's eyes seared into me, a tempest of pride and desire swirling within his gaze. His approval ignited a fire within me, propelling me deeper into the mysterious realms of my own sensuality. The second man moved in, his hands gripping my waist, drawing me ever closer to the bed, the air thick with tension. "Lie down, Isabella," he murmured, his voice laced with an intensity that demanded her attention. Prepare yourself for an experience that will stir your senses and elevate your spirits. I complied, my heart racing with a mix of excitement and dread as I lowered myself onto the plush mattress. My body pulsed with an urgency so profound it teetered on the edge of agony. They closed in around me, their hands and lips a whirlwind of sensation, each moment thick with tension and unspoken desire. The intensity was overwhelming, their collective gaze swirling around me, igniting a tumult of emotions that left my head reeling and my body aching with an insatiable longing. One of them kissed me with an intensity that took my breath away, his fingers weaving through my hair, his body enveloping me completely. Another trailed kisses down my neck and chest, while the third man's hands moved over my legs, his touch a deliberate, agonizing exploration. I found myself enveloped in the intensity of the moment, every sensation igniting a fire within me, my body reacting to each caress with an urgency that left me breathless. I never wished for this to conclude. Marcus's voice pierced the fog of ecstasy, his words gentle yet brimming with intensity. "You're absolutely remarkable, Isabella," he breathed, his voice thick with emotion. "It fills me with such joy to witness you in this moment." His approval, his desire heightened the experience, transforming it into something even more exhilarating. I yearned to satisfy him, to fulfill his deepest desires, and the awareness of his gaze, relishing each second, drove the ecstasy to unimaginable extremes. The man at my side leaned down, his lips brushing against mine with a softness that sent a shiver through me, igniting a tension that hung in the air. "You're so beautiful," he whispered between kisses, his voice heavy with longing. "I desire to elevate your experience to new heights." And just when I believed I had reached my limit, just when I thought the ecstasy had hit its zenith, they propelled me beyond the brink, plunging me into a realm of unadulterated delight. My body quaked, my breath caught in my throat, and I yielded entirely to the surging waves of sensation, engulfed in a whirlwind of sheer, unfiltered ecstasy. It surpassed all my expectations, transcending every dream I had ever dared to envision. As the fervor waned, I found myself breathless and exhausted, surrounded by the comforting embrace of the three men who had unveiled a realm of ecstasy I had never imagined possible. Their touches softened, transforming into tender caresses as we all descended from the exhilarating peaks of desire. My mind spun with turmoil, yet an overwhelming wave of satisfaction washed over me, a profound fulfillment that echoed in the stillness that followed. It transcended mere physical pleasure. It was the profound emotional bond, the intoxicating sensation of being wholly desired. The knowledge that Marcus had willingly embraced this experience, that his yearning mirrored my own, intensified the moment beyond imagination. As I stole a glance his way, the intensity of pride and love radiating from his eyes spoke volumes, providing the affirmation I sought. He stepped nearer, his fingers brushing against my cheek with a tender touch as he lowered himself to press his lips against mine, a whisper of a kiss that sent shivers down my spine. "You were incredible, Isabella," he murmured, his voice thick with feeling. "I had a feeling this moment would linger in my memory, yet you surpassed every fantasy I ever held." His words enveloped me in an overwhelming wave of love and gratitude, stirring deep emotions within my soul. As I lay there, enveloped by the presence of these men and the one I cherished, it struck me that this moment had evolved beyond simple imagination. It was a matter of trust, of yielding entirely, with the profound awareness that I was treasured and loved beyond measure. We had plunged into the depths of uncertainty side by side, and it had only deepened the ties that bound us.